You know that feeling when your alarm goes off in the pitch black?
Oh, the absolute worst.
Right. Your feet hit the floor and you are just, well, immediately rushing. Like you're pouring coffee, you're bumping shoulders with complete strangers on a crowded commute.
Yeah, just working yourself to the bone.
Exactly. For like 8, 10, maybe 12 hours, only to crawl back into bed and feel like you're endlessly spinning on this giant hamster wheel. I mean, we all feel it.
Oh, for sure. It's basically the defining rhythm of modern life.
It is. But what if I told you that this daily grind isn't just exhausting? What if it's actually a form of, well, what some might call barbarism?
Which is, definitely a jarring premise.
Yeah, it really is.
Because we're so conditioned to view that endless hustle as like the ultimate marker of a successful, productive adult. So to have someone look at that and say, no, you're actually trapped in a tragic cycle, it really forces you to hit pause.
And that is exactly our mission for today's deep dive. We are opening up this really fascinating philosophical text from 2025 by a writer named Zhu Feng. It's a great piece.
It is, and it's simply titled 8 Characteristics of a Civilized Person. So we're going to unpack this document today because it basically operates as a radical 8-step survival guide,
Yeah, it's total blueprint.
a blueprint that claims to elevate humanity from this cycle of disaster, from being what the author bluntly calls former animals,
Which is harsh, but yeah.
to becoming truly, civilized beings.
Well, and before we jump right into the traits themselves, I think it's incredibly helpful to set the table for what kind of text this actually is.
Good idea.
Because Shifeng is blending theology, this massive, almost overwhelming cosmic perspective, and very strict ethical rules altogether.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is.
Yeah.
So the best approach for you listening is to basically treat this as a sweeping thought experiment.
Right, keep an open mind.
Exactly, because it's deliberately designed by the author to challenge our everyday assumptions about, well, who we are, who we actually answer to, and even what we're allowed to own. Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can even look at how a, civilized person behaves on a normal Tuesday afternoon, we have to completely dismantle our understanding of who is actually in charge of our lives.
Yeah, we have to start at the very top.
Right. So Shifeng starts by redefining authority entirely. And that brings us to trait 1, which is the idea that God, or the creator, is the only master.
The only one.
And the text uses this incredibly provocative analogy. I mean, it argues that if a human treats another human as a master, they're essentially a dog.
Wow.
Yeah. The logic being that, well, only dogs have human masters.
Yeah, and the literal translation of the logic in the text is a dog's master is not a dog. A person's manager is not a person.
That is so blunt.
It's an apologetic, right? It's just a way of completely stripping away every single layer of human hierarchy.
So no bosses. Now,
Right, Shufeng is arguing that presidents, emperors, bosses, billionaires, even fathers, they are all merely creations.
just creations.
Yeah, they exist on the exact same plane as you. None of them are actually masters.
So it's essentially a total leveling of the playing field. I mean, it's like we're all actors in a play, right?
Yeah.
And we're treating the lead actor as the ultimate king when really they're just another employee of the studio, with the creator being the studio.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
But wait a second. I mean, if I walk into work tomorrow and tell my CEO that I no longer answer to human masters, I'm not enlightened, I'm just unemployed.
Yeah, you're going to get fired.
Right. So is the author genuinely advocating for complete anarchy here?
See, that is the natural objection. But what's fascinating here is that it's actually not about anarchy at all. It's about shifting your ultimate allegiance.
Okay.
Choi argues that true anarchy, like the chaos we actually see in the world, that comes from human delusion and greed, from our obsession with controlling things.
Ah, I see.
So instead of answering to a human boss, trait 2 demands that you obey heaven's will, or destiny.
Which is a huge shift.
Huge. The text proposes that literally everything in the physical world is already quantified by fate.
And it gets highly specific about that, too. Like, the text claims your birth, your lifespan, the wealth you accumulate.
Even the exact food you eat.
Yes. The food you eat and the clothes you wear are all quantified by this cosmic destiny.
Just think about the immense psychological friction we create by constantly fighting our current circumstances.
Oh, it's exhausting. We're so obsessed with the hustle.
Right, climbing ladders, comparing our lives to someone else's highlight reel on social media.
Yeah.
Shufeng argues that these specific delusions, these desires to control things that are way beyond our fate, those are what actually bring about disaster and cut our lives short.
Which really explains this concept of the fairy state that's mentioned in the
Oh
text.
yeah, the fairy state.
Yeah, because the author promises that if you just surrender to heaven's will, you achieve this profound internal serenity. Like you could be residing in a really poor, run-down alley.
Just completely destitute.
Exactly. But because you've accepted your destiny, your internal state is entirely untouched by the poverty around you. You aren't suffering because, well, you aren't fighting reality.
And that internal serenity is crucial because it actually prepares you for trait 4, which is the concept of the cosmic citizen.
Right, the cosmic citizen.
Because once you stop bowing to human masters and you stop fighting your personal destiny, you have to expand your map of belonging
You have to zoom out.
way out. The text argues that loving only your family or loving only your specific country is actually a massive trap.
Yeah, and the imagery used there is brilliant. Xu Feng compares it to drawing a circle on the ground, stepping inside of it, and just locking yourself in.
It's a really profound critique of tribalism, honestly. The author asks you to consider the Earth as just a mere speck of dust in the universe.
Just a speck.
And if the Earth is dust, then these nations, these borders, these imaginary lines that we build walls upon and fight wars over—
They're just dust within dust.
exactly, dust within dust.
To put that into perspective for you listening, imagine zooming out from your frustrating morning commute. You know, you're stuck in traffic, your blood pressure is rising.
Someone just cut you off.
Right. Now zoom out past the highway, past your city, past the borders of your country, past the Earth itself, all the way out to view the entire swirling galaxy.
It changes things.
It really does. Suddenly that tax bill you're stressing over seems a bit absurd, doesn't it?
That is the exact reframing Xu Feng is aiming for. Because if you adopt this boundless view, the text says you will see relatives everywhere in the stars.
Relatives everywhere. I love that.
You're no longer just an employee in a cubicle or a citizen of a specific zip code. You're a citizen of the cosmos.
It completely dissolves those everyday anxieties that are rooted in tribal competition.
It really does.
And I see the beauty in that. I really do. But it brings up a massive logistical hurdle.
Okay, what's that?
Well, if a civilized person answers only to the cosmos and views arbitrary human borders as dust within dust, how on earth are they supposed to physically live in a society without going totally crazy?
Right, the real world.
Yeah. I mean, we still have mortgages. We still have to navigate a world built by those barbarians.
And that friction is exactly why Guifeng introduces the art of flow in trait 3. Because you cannot survive as a cosmic citizen if you're constantly, crashing against the rocks of modern society.
You'd just be miserable.
Right. So the text outlines 4 specific principles of flow to help you navigate the physical world.
Let's break those down because they are incredibly pragmatic.
They are.
The first is going with circumstances, which the text claims is the antidote to anxiety.
Right. So consider what happens when you face a sudden setback, like losing a job or a relationship.
It's devastating.
But the anxiety doesn't just come from the event itself. It comes from your resistance to it.
Yeah.
You spend weeks agonizing, like, why did this happen to me? This wasn't the plan.
Oh, absolutely.
So going with circumstances means looking at the new reality and saying, okay, the river has bent in a new direction. I will flow with it. It just removes that exhausting mental resistance.
Which leads right into the second principle, which is going with fate. And the text says, this prevents unhealthy attachments.
It ties right back to the idea of destiny.
Yeah. If you believe your path is unfolding exactly as it should, you stop clinging desperately to people or titles or status symbols that are naturally exiting your life.
Exactly. And then you have the third flow, which is acting naturally.
Mm-hmm.
This helps you avoid feeling restrained.
So, authenticity.
Pure authenticity. Instead of performing a carefully curated version of yourself for your boss or your neighbors, you act in accordance with your true nature.
Just be who you are.
Right. And finally, the fourth flow is seizing opportunities so you don't waste time.
And that last one is so important because it proves this isn't just about passive resignation.
No, not at all.
Flowing like water doesn't mean you just lay in a puddle. Water still moves, right?
Yeah.
It still cuts through rock over time.
Yeah, it has power.
So when an opening presents itself, you take it effortlessly.
It's really a masterclass in living without friction. But I will say the absolute ultimate test of this philosophy,
Oh, here we go.
the concept that will likely challenge modern listeners the most, comes in trait 6. This trait demands absolute non-possession.
This is where the text gets fiercely uncompromising. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because trait 6 plainly states, all ownership is suffering.
Such a heavy statement.
It makes the bold claim that if everyone gives and absolutely no one possesses anything, the world actually transforms into heaven.
Wow.
It's like, imagine living in a massive, wondrous cosmic library, right?
Yeah.
You can read any book, you can experience any story, study the maps of the universe, but you are strictly forbidden from taking any of them home and putting them on your personal shelf.
That is a beautiful metaphor.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Xie Feng is highlighting a deep psychological truth about the burden of hoarding.
The mental toll it takes.
Think about the sheer amount of mental bandwidth and physical energy that you spend maintaining, protecting, insuring, and just worrying about your possessions.
The bigger house, the nicer car, the retirement portfolio.
The things you own end up owning you.
They really do.
Precisely. The text suggests an absolute inverse relationship. Like, the more you own, the more you suffer, because you're constantly terrified of losing it.
Right.
So by demanding that a civilized person only gives and does not possess, so Fang isn't necessarily saying you have to, walk into the woods and refuse to use a toothbrush or sleep in a bed.
So it's more about the psychological grip of ownership.
Yes, exactly. You must completely sever the psychological attachment. You are a steward, not an owner.
A steward.
You use the house, you drive the car, but you recognize that you're just borrowing these atoms for a brief cosmic moment. When it's time to give them up, there's no suffering because they were never truly yours to begin with.
Okay, so a civilized person has let go of their possessions. They're flowing like water through circumstances, and they answer only to the creator.
Right.
But they still have to walk around on the physical planet and interact with the physical world. So how does this text mandate we treat our environment?
That brings us to trait 5, which demands a profound reverence for life and nature.
Okay.
And this connects directly back to the very first point we discussed. If the creator is the only master, then all of creation is equal under that master.
The text is beautifully expansive here, too. I mean, it says that killing brings endless sin, while cherishing life brings endless blessings.
Everything is included.
Everything. It demands reverence for mountains, rivers, thunderstorms, plants, and it goes right down to bugs and caterpillars.
Even the bugs.
It states that all these species exist to nourish humanity, and we must respect them as part of the divine fabric.
It's a fiercely horizontal ecological view, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the vertical hierarchy we usually operate under, where humans sit at the very top and everything else is just raw material for us to consume.
Right, just resources.
You cannot claim to be a cosmic citizen while simultaneously pillaging and destroying the speck of dust you happen to be standing on. The caterpillar and the thunderstorm are just as essential to the cosmic library as you are.
Which feels entirely consistent with the boundless, free-flowing philosophy we've been discussing.
Ah, the but.
Yeah, then we hit trait 7. And I have to admit, reading through the source material, this felt like a massive contradiction.
It really does at first glance.
Right. Because after all this talk about cosmic freedom, flowing like water, having no human masters, trait 7 suddenly drops the hammer and demands strict adherence to laws, keeping your contracts, and maintaining absolute trustworthiness.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a paradox on the surface. You've zoomed out to the galaxy, but now you're being told to make sure you pay your parking tickets and honor your lease agreement.
Exactly. So what does this all mean? How does the text justify it? How do rigid earthly rules fit into a philosophy of total spiritual freedom?
This is perhaps the most brilliant architectural aspect of Sui Feng's framework. Yeah. The author argues that law is exactly what ensures freedom. Contracts are what ensure order, and trust is what ensures harmony. Without these earthly agreements, you cannot achieve what the text calls Tianxia Detang.
Okay, let's break that term down for the listener.
Sure. So Tianxia translates roughly to all under heaven, and Detang means great harmony or universal brotherhood.
Ah, universal brotherhood.
It's this idealized state of global peace. Zhuo Feng's point is that the rigid rules of law and contracts exist to manage the physical, logistical world so that your spirit can remain entirely free.
Okay, I think I get it. Think of it like the rules of the road, right?
Okay, that's a good comparison.
If there were no traffic laws, every time you got behind the wheel, you would be in a state of high alert panic, just terrified of getting T-boned at every intersection.
You'd be sweating the whole drive.
You'd have absolute, quote-unquote, freedom to drive however you want, but you'd be a nervous wreck. Because we all agree to stop at red lights and stay in our lanes, you don't have to think about the logistics of driving. You can turn on the radio, let your mind wander, and actually enjoy the trip.
That is a perfect parallel. The structure creates the space for the freedom to exist.
Right.
If a civilized person is absolutely trustworthy and honors every contract they sign, they eliminate the friction of suspicion.
No paranoia.
Right? You never have to waste a single ounce of energy looking over your shoulder wondering if you're going to be betrayed. That mental bandwidth is freed up for cosmic citizenship.
That is a fascinating way to reconcile the two extremes. And that resulting harmony leads us beautifully into the final characteristic, trait 8, which is the ultimate principle of live and let live.
And this is where the philosophy demands that you extend all of this grace outward to everyone else.
The imagery Zhu uses here is so striking. I mean, the text says we must let everyone have a way to live, and it points to nature to explain why.
The natural diversity.
Yes, nature has wind, rain, and snow. Roads are naturally straight, curved, and sloped. Flowers naturally bloom in red, yellow, blue, and green.
The diversity isn't an accident, you know. It is the design. And humans come in all shapes, sizes, temperaments, and belief systems.
And this is where it really hits home.
Yeah.
How often do we, in our daily lives, try to force our spouses, our kids, or our coworkers to see the world exactly the way we do?
All the time.
We demand that they share our politics, our work ethic, our anxieties. But the text explicitly states that we must not demand uniformity. We have to respect individual choices and hobbies. Demanding that everyone be a red flower is literally the root of barbarism.
It's a total rejection of the human impulse to control others. I mean, if you truly see yourself as a cosmic citizen,
Right.
someone who owns nothing, who respects the natural flow of fate, and who honors the divine spark in a caterpillar, how could you possibly justify forcing another human being to bend to your specific worldview?
You can't.
You have to let the yellow flower be yellow and the blue flower be blue.
So, bringing all of this together, Shuafeng's 2025 text presents us with a stark, ultimate binary.
It really draws a line in the sand.
It does. If you can embody these 8 traits, rejecting human masters to serve the Creator, finding peace in your destiny, flowing with circumstances like water, embracing the boundless cosmos instead of tribal borders, revering the natural world, giving without possessing, keeping your contracts to ensure trust, and letting the people around you bloom in their own colors, you elevate yourself.
You do.
You become a civilized person.
And the unspoken consequence is that failing to do so, clinging to your greed, hoarding your possessions, stressing over your status, obsessing over national borders, and trying to force everyone to agree with you.
All the things we do every day.
Right. Doing all that leaves you trapped in that hamster wheel, according to the author, it leaves you as barbarian.
It is a formidable mirror to hold up to our modern lives. So as you go about the rest of your day, look at your actions through Shuafeng's lens.
Highly recommend trying it.
When you feel that spike of anxiety at work, ask yourself, are you treating a boss like a master? When you read the news, are you drawing a tiny, fearful circle around your neighborhood and ignoring the rest of your fellow cosmic citizens?
Or maybe, are you demanding that the flowers in your own home all be the exact same color?
It is a profound philosophical challenge. And whether you agree with the author's theological premises or not, attempting to live even one day with this level of detachment and flow would radically alter how you experience the world.
It absolutely would. It changes everything.
We've covered incredible ground today, but we want to leave you with one final lingering question to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
Oh, this is a good one.
The text makes a compelling case that all ownership brings suffering, and that we should only give, never possess. We talked about letting go of our houses, our cars, our titles. But if the ultimate goal of a truly civilized person is to give up possession entirely, well, what happens to the concept of our own personal identity?
Right. Who are we then?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a world where we claim ownership over absolutely nothing, is our identity, our very sense of self, the final, most difficult thing we have to give away to truly be free.